over 55 years, your source for agribusiness news and features from around the Southeast and across the country, focusing on one of the nation's top industries, agriculture. The Farm Monitor is produced by the Georgia Farm Bureau in association with Abraham Baldwin Agricultural College.
Alrighty then, all our hard work and efforts the past week leading to this, an entire 30 minutes dedicated to Georgia agriculture. Welcome, so glad you tuned into the Farm Monitor. To my left, Jennifer Parson.
And he is Ray DeLessio. As always, we've got a lot of good stories for you this week, so without further delay, here's what's coming up. We're kicking off a brand new series spotlighting Georgia lawmakers who also farm the land they serve. And it all starts with Robert Dickey, a fourth-generation peach grower turned policymaker.
Also, a pilot retires and ends up growing blackberries, the sweet second act of Beak and Berry Farm. Plus,
well, everybody, Ranger Nick here. You know, I've worked a lot with Abraham Baldwin Agricultural College over the years through UGA, but I've never been a student at ABAC. That's going to change this month. I'm hanging out at the beef unit and the golf course, and all that we'll explain in just a little bit. That and so much more starts right now on the Farm Monitor.
This month, we are kicking off a special series on Georgia lawmakers who also happen to be farmers, starting with someone who knows a thing or two about peaches.
That would be Robert Dickey from Musella, whose love for agriculture led him to the state capitol. Here's John Holcomb with more on how he's using his voice to stand up for farmers and the land they depend on.
For Robert Dickey, a fourth-generation farmer, agriculture isn't just his job, neither is it just an industry he works in. It's a deep-rooted passion that eventually led him to pursue a career in public service in Atlanta, something he says was never part of the plan.
Well, I really didn't have any idea I'd eventually run for office. I wanted to come back here after UGA, degree there. I came back with my wife Cindy and started a family right here in our family business, growing peaches. But when the opportunity came up, I jumped at it.
Since his start in the state legislature, Dickey has worked his way up through the ranks, in which he now serves as the chairman of the House Agriculture and Consumer Affairs Committee, allowing him to be a strong voice for the state's ag industry in rural communities.
Having good farm policy and farm support in Georgia is so important. It's our largest industry and employs so many Georgians. It's the basis of our economy here, especially in rural Georgia. And Georgia's got a very diversified economy, but agriculture is the backbone of it.
Being one of the handful of state legislators that are farmers, Dickey's perspective gives him the opportunity to advocate for the industry with other lawmakers, allowing them the chance to work together to keep the state's ag economy strong.
Those 11 of us, we got each other's back. We're trying to talk to each other, try to form some good policy, trying to gather support, and I think we've done a good job of that. Our metro legislators so far have been very supportive of agriculture and agribusiness in this state, and I think that's not by accident. We got a great group in the House and Senate that want to see Georgia's ag thrive.
For Dickey, the advocacy and desire to be a voice in Atlanta can be credited to his involvement with Farm Bureau, something that first inspired him to run for office.
I was president for several years and just saw how important Farm Bureau was to making good farm policy in Georgia. It really probably one of the impetus for me running, knowing how important it is to have good voices in Atlanta and Washington, D.C. for agriculture.
Though the session is still a long ways off, Dickey says he's already looking ahead and believes protecting valuable farmland remains top priority to ensure farmers in the ag industry remain successful.
Agriculture is facing some headwinds. We had a good session this past year trying to help those hurricane victims there. It was tough, but I'm just really worried about our agricultural land disappearing in this state. So many other interests are taking it over or using it for other interests, and I just think we've got to protect farmland in this state, just like we're protecting other natural resources, our water and our parks and streams and rivers. We got to protect farmland.
Reporting in Musella for the Farm Monitor, I'm John Holcomb.
Whether it's inflation, extreme weather, or the threat of invasive pests, growers of specialty crops face a unique set of hurdles, often with fewer resources than other ag sectors. Now, a USDA program is aiming to level the playing field. American Farm Bureau's John Boltright breaks it down for us.
USDA created this program in December 2024 and opened up an application period for specialty crop growers, specifically growers with commercially marketable specialty crops as defined in the program. When we talk about specialty crops, we're talking primarily about fruit, vegetable, and nut crops. The goal, hopefully, is to pay attention to USDA announcements to see whether or not they may open this back up. The hope is that also growers will funnel up any issues, any feedback, good or bad, to improve upon the good work that they've already done.
With blackberry bushes producing fruit just one time a year, the season can be very short and the numbers very limited. That's why people have been rushing to Beak and Berry Farms in Coweta County, where one couple is living out their dream of running their own farm. Damon Jones has the story.
It's never too late to get involved with agriculture. Case in point, Beak and Berry Farm, a U-pick operation started up by one retired couple looking for a second career. As for what they would start off growing, that decision was made for them early in the process.
In 2016, my husband retired as airline pilot, and we decided, well, what are we going to do now? And we thought, well, let's buy a farm. So we found this beautiful little farm in Georgia. We were living in Tennessee at the time, and we bought this, and there were 100 blueberry bushes on the property. I thought, oh, cool, we can sell blueberries.
That would eventually evolve into growing strawberries and finally blackberries. And so far, it's been a crop that has been very well received by their customers.
We cleared like 3 acres, and it was heavily wooded, and we cleared it and put in strawberry plants. And they've been very successful, and they thought, let's go one step further. Let's try blackberries. And we've just been amazed at the response of people to blackberries. People seem to like that they can come and get clean, healthy berries here.
As for what to look for when picking out that perfect berry, it's not exactly advice you would expect.
If they're bright and shiny, they're not quite ripe yet. If it has a dull finish to it, that's a ripe, sweet berry.
While she might seem like an expert now, that was far from the case in the beginning. But through hard work and a little bit of help from a number of sources, it's a farm that is now thriving.
We tell people that we are proud agricultural graduates of YouTube University. That's it. You know, that's our education in farming. We learn from the University of Georgia Extension Service. They're a great resource for information. Farm Bureau has helped us out a lot, and just learning on YouTube. We've learned that it takes patience. We've learned to respect Mother Nature, that we are very much at her whim, and sometimes things work and sometimes they don't.
It's not just berries that visitors can come home with, but also a little something to start up their own garden.
At the end of the year, we plow the plants under. You know, we just dig them up. Not the blackberries, but the strawberries. We will just compost them into the ground, plow them under. But before we do, we let our customers come out here and dig up some plants to take home. We put out a donation jar and ask them to donate to the I-58 food mission.
That sense of service extends to everyone that comes through the gates, as farming and running an agribusiness has become much more than just a second profession. And there's one aspect of the job they particularly enjoy.
Well, I mean, it's great to have the fruit. We love having that. But just the people that come here, it's just so fun to meet people and, you know, see that they're getting healthy, delicious stuff to take home with them. It's been a blast. We've said we'll do this until it's not fun anymore.
Reporting from Sonoy, I'm Damon Jones for the Farm Monitor.
Well, everybody, Ranger Nick. Coming up after the break, I'm spending some time learning what the students learn down here at ABAC as they prepare for careers. Checking DNA from cattle, spending time out on a golf course looking at turf management, that and a whole lot more after you watch the break.
When you're able to really sit and look at some of where our communities are living, and there's not a grocery store, fresh market within several miles, that's a problem.
We can grow food, but it doesn't mean anything if no one buys it, or the people who need it the most can't get access to it.
Food access and food insecurity is an issue across our nation, and Georgia is no different. The Archway Partnership brings community partners together through the work that we do, and to address challenges of today and tomorrow requires collaboration and partnerships across public, private, government, and nonprofit sectors. The University of Georgia is committed to finding pathways to help address food insecurity and grow community gardens and support farmers around the state. In places like Atlanta, UGA, through Extension and its partners, is already running programs like the Fulton Fresh Market, which distribute local produce and teach about healthy foods. Extension also connects with urban farmers and community gardens to help increase food production. Expanding on the work already being done, the Archway Partnership partnered with the USDA to distribute federal grants to community gardens around the state.
And so we wanted to find partners in our state's flagship institution, the University of Georgia. What a great way to work together to reach folks around the state, to make sure we have the opportunity to engage our young people, to also make sure that we're solving food insecurity, that we're addressing food deserts.
The first step is to host listening sessions across the state to bring people together and learn about the issues from experts on the ground. Our session in Atlanta, for example, brought together growers, advocates, nonprofits, and community stakeholders to discuss issues at hand.
Before we start going into communities and investing dollars, we wanted to hear and understand the needs of each respective community. We want to ensure that we understand where the need is. And so the Archway Partnership was a great partner to go into some of our communities and to facilitate communication, to facilitate conversation so that we can best understand the needs before we invest.
The University of Georgia has always been instrumental in the state of Georgia in giving back. And partnering with USDA only magnifies that partnership. And who doesn't like a bulldog? So when having those two organizations come together and help to increase awareness for nutritional value, urban agriculture, agriculture as a whole is monumental.
Through the University of Georgia, whether through extension or public service and outreach, we're working to solve real-world challenges in Atlanta and across the state of Georgia.
Well, there's no denying where Ranger Nick's loyalty lies. As a proud member of the UGA faculty, he's all about the red and black and never misses a chance to remind us where his bread is buttered.
No question. But even with that bulldog pride, Nick made his way down to ABAC, where he reconnected with an old friend and got a first-hand look at some of the impressive real-world experiences the students are getting both inside and outside the classroom.
Holding a juvenile Juro spider. Until next time, for the Farm Monitor, I'm Ranger Nick, reminding you, like I always do, that enthusiasm is contagious. Well, you're looking at the beef unit here at the Abraham Baldwin Agricultural College, and this month I'm going to be a student here at ABAC, as we say, and for almost 20 years I have been great friends with the man who's now the Dean of the School of Ag and Natural Resources, Dr. Andrew Thorne.
Nice to meet you.
It's so good to see you again. I know, it's been for so long, but now in this very important role. So Dean, if I'm a student here at ABAC, out here at the beef unit, looking at some of the inhabitants, what could I do today in class here at the beef unit?
Sure, so today we're gonna do some DNA testing on some heifer calves.
Oh, let's do it.
Okay, all right, well, welcome to ABAC.
Well, Dr. Thorne turned me loose inside of this place, in this barn, and I happened to run into my brand new professor, Dr. Higgs. Hi, Dr. Higgs.
Hello.
I'm Nick Furman. I'm a new student here, and I'm trying to keep it together, and I understand we're in this barn. What are we doing with genetics today in these animals?
What we're going to do is we're going to take a tissue sample. We're going to have it shipped off at a lab, and the lab is actually going to run tests on it to see what is the genetic information that's captured in that tissue sample.
Interesting, and there's this wonderful guest here with us. Ellie Grace, I understand, is your name.
Yes.
Nice to meet you. I'm Nick Furman, and you're a student here at ABAC Junior. What are we going to be doing with these tools that are over here?
Well, we're going to load it sort of like this. We'll open it up.
Okay. So it's not a needle. I was thinking it would be a needle. Okay.
It punctures the skin. Okay. You load it, and when you take that off, it'll have a space right there, and you put the ear in there, and you're gonna aim for about the bottom corner of the ear, and it punctures a hole and takes all of that tissue right there and puts it in that fluid right there.
Okay, took a little sample. Okay, we can let this guy back out to mama, and we'll take a look at what you've got.
So there you can see the sample right there, and there's the green ball that went through, which shows that the sample went through, and then the red shows that it's all the way in there.
Awesome. That's then, as Dr. Hicks said, going to a lab in Nebraska. That's going to be analyzed, and then you might look at that data as a student here and say, what does this mean, right?
Yes.
Pretty cool. I mean, this is the way of the future, and experiential learning right here at ABAC. Great stuff. So from the cow pasture, beef unit there at ABAC, I'm a new student, Dean Thorne. I'm out here at this Forest Lakes golf course. How is this related to teaching at ABAC?
Yeah, sure. Well, you think about that ABAC owns a 9-hole public golf course, Forest Lakes Golf Course, donated by an individual with in mind that it's going to be a teaching golf course. So students within our turf grass major and within the environmental horticulture major then take courses out here and learn real-world skills that they would apply on the golf course.
And folks are playing here right now. So as that new student, I want to go into a turf grass class right now with a professor and learn what I would be doing here. So let's go. It's kind of cool to say I'm out here on campus at ABAC, and Mr. Justin Exum's out here. Hey, Mr. Exum.
How are you?
I'm great. I'm a new student here at ABAC. This is my first day. I understand I'm in a fine turf management class. Pretty cool to say this is our classroom. What are we doing today with these golf balls and this weird metal contraption?
Yes, sir. So today we're going to stimp the greens, which is a fancy term for saying we're going to test our speed to see how fast they're rolling.
Oh, good. Very important to know. I'm not a golfer, but apparently if I am a golfer, I need to know how fast it goes to the hole.
Yes, sir.
So how do you do that?
So what we're going to do is, we got this fancy contraption they call a stimp meter.
Okay.
We're going to put our tee for mark our starting location. And we're going to take this golf ball right here.
Okay. Now it matters how high up you are.
So you see how low I am right now?
Okay.
So what we'll do is we'll slowly raise it.
Come on, buddy. Okay.
And then what you'll do is you'll repeat that process 3 times.
Went further than if I did it with a golf club, I promise you that.
Looks like some of my putts when I got 30-foot putts and I'm leaving it 10 foot short.
Look at that, okay.
So, and then we'll do the last one.
3 times
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Look at this.
And they're supposed to be within 8 inches of each other.
And as a student, I'm going to look at that across different greens out here. And what's that tell you in terms of management recommendations, chemicals, what kind of stuff?
So what it's going to tell us right now, we're kind of slow right now, which is fine. We just went through an aerification process, which is what they punch holes in the green. They come back through, they'll put sand back in the holes. It helps with the grow in. It also helps with getting the air to the soil.
Right.
That way your grass keeps growing, and then once we get it back to where it's supposed to be, we'll take and put a growth regulator on it. That way it'll grow into each other, where to grow. So,
tighter blades of grass so that ball rolls faster.
Yes,
interesting. So what's so special when you use that word they? Students are doing this stuff out here.
That's right, yes, sir. Not
That's
me,
the hands-on. Yeah,
yes,
delegate that. That's a great learning experience, and that's the kind of thing you can do right here. Well, I've had a great time today hanging out at ABAC and hanging out with my old friend Dean Thorne. Hard to believe that 20 years ago, our paths crossed at the University of Florida, and I can't say that too loudly around Athens, Georgia, Andrew, but our paths crossed, we've stayed friends, and it's so cool, and congratulations for you being in this leadership role at ABAC. So as Dean, and I'm so grateful that you even want to still talk to me, lowly me, what's been your biggest surprise, would you say?
I think as you've seen today at ABAC is that we've got faculty and we've got staff that are willing to support and provide hands-on real-world opportunities for students, as well as then working with our stakeholders and helping them produce a better product. How can we end up with better heifers? How can we end up with more marketable beef? And then, in the turf world, huge demand, opportunities there, great careers. But then also putting into practice at our 9-hole golf course opportunities that students have while attending ABAC.
Yeah, I love it. Doc, thank you so much. Congratulations. And y'all, thank you so much for watching at home. You know what to do. Hop online, check out more about ABAC, learn more about the Georgia Farm Monitor and what's going on with the folks there. Until next time, I'm Ranger Nick, reminding you, as I always do, that enthusiasm is contagious. So pass it on. Y'all, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you right back here again, this time next month. See ya. Holding a juvenile Juro spider. Until next time, for the Farm Monitor, I'm Ranger Nick, reminding you, like I always do, that enthusiasm is contagious.
When we come back, from military service to managing 200 head of cattle, Cobbtown's Handy Kennedy is rewriting the playbook on pasture-based farming using data to drive every decision.
Finally this week, Cobbtown's Handy Kennedy is proving just how valuable data can be when it comes to running a successful operation. And thanks to our friends at SARE, Sustainable Agricultural Research and Education, we get a closer look at how he's improving both forage and livestock management to build a high-value herd.
One of the challenges that I had to overcome when I came back to the farm was, how do I bring my thoughts of embracing technology and embracing new methods of farming? How do I incorporate that in a way that would bring the next generation on? Because we know making data-driven decisions every day gives you the competitive edge. Here at HK Farm and HKJ Ranch, we run approximately 200 head of cattle on the farm in a given year. We are a pasture-based cattle operation. HK Farm legacy started in 1869, so we've been in agriculture since that time. Upon graduating from high school in 1985, I spent 4 years in the military. After the military, I went to college for 4 years. I was trying to get away from the farm as far as possible. Upon my father's death, I came back to the farm and knew that in order to make this farm profitable and sustainable, we had to adopt new technologies and start making decisions based upon data. So what I had to do was basically become an experiment site for my particular farm. And so I showed the family how I was using data-driven decisions and new technologies on my farm to advance a more efficient way of producing cattle. So once they saw me implement it on my farm and gradually taking those same technologies and using it to advance their farm, they were more receptive to incorporate everything that I was doing on my farm onto their farm. It's a gradual process, but it is a process if you believe in what you are doing, that you will convince the family that this is the way that the farm needs to be in order to stay sustainable and profitable. For example, when I started incorporating legume into my farm, I knew that it would help reduce the nitrogen costs. By planting a small acreage of legume, they saw that the next year that I was able to reduce the amount of nitrogen that I needed for that particular plot of land. So they saw a reduce in input costs. And when you reduce an input cost, that means more profit for you. So my advice to any beginning farmer is to use your farm or your particular land. You may not have your own farm, or you can say, give me these 10 acres and I want to implement new technologies and make decisions based upon data for this small acreage, and then you can prove to them that new technologies, data-driven decisions, it will give you the competitive edge in today's market, because we know that yesterday's best is today's average. And so we have to continue to get better at farming operations.
Another great example on how innovation and legacy go hand in hand. Well, you hear the music. That's our cue to say goodbye.
Take care, everybody. We'll see you next time right here on the Farm Monitor. Stay safe and have a great week.